A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. Welcome to the first show of the new season, Season 2. This will be the first show of 2019. We are recording this on New Year's Eve, so if you hear any explosions in the background, don't be alarmed.
This is my water heater.
That's not funny, man. My microwave went out, and so I emailed the landlady, and she's like, well, you know, there's a microwave on the other thing. And I was like, I wasn't asking her to like come up and fix the microwave right now. I was just like, hey, just letting you know, I don't know how this thing works. It's mounted into the wall.
Oh, it's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's difficult.
But no water heaters. Just New Year's Eve. Thank you all Patreons. Our newest, Alicia, thank you very much for your generous donation toward the cause.
Mm-hmm.
I've started getting the podcasts, the backlog built up, and we're going to get it on Spotify very, very soon.
Yeah.
If you'd like to be a part of that, patreon.com/AIFA. And if you don't, the best thing that you can do is to rate and review us. 5-star ratings and a kind review helps the podcast go a long way. So if you have a second, if you're listening to this on your phone, stop for just a second. Unless you're driving, then keep your eyes on the road.
And pull over.
Pull over. And scroll down the page and give us a little 5-star review. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our sponsor is Green Camel Press, greencamelpress.com. Green Camel Press brings the old school aesthetic in a digital age to artwork. We are currently working on some electronic greeting cards, and we have a whole new line of greeting cards as well, including some fun birthday, everyday cards, and Valentine's Day cards. So you can go check us out at greencamelpress.com. Excuse me. And so the new season, is for abstinence. Mm-hmm. Are you abstinent, Jerry?
Yeah, sure. The way you say it the first time you said it, I thought you said absinthe, and I'm like, I'm not really sure what we're doing with absinthe. I was like, hey, would you like an affectation? Would you like to really have to affect your
affectation?
Alcoholism?
Abstinence.
Let's get a spoon. Abstinence. From alcohol.
From alcohol. I mean, you can be abstinent from
other things, yeah, but primarily I think our focus is alcohol. But if the other things are fucking your life up, yeah, you should probably really consider cutting down or being abstinent those things too.
Mm-hmm. If it's fucking your life up. If it's not,
then fucking carry on, my wayward son. You know, like
excuse me, rock and roll.
Yeah. Get a little weird with it. You know?
So for us, I'm gonna speak for you for a second here. Abstinence is key.
Go for it.
You can't do what we're trying to do over here. If I were to put, when I talk about working my program in a broader sense, it's all about wanting to be happy, wanting to be content, trying to fulfill some, I'm searching for some spiritual need to fulfill. Hopefully I'm finding that spiritual need and I'm able to find something to help me fulfill it. And alcohol just gets in the way of that. So, my program, the 12-step that we work in, is not just about quitting alcohol. And in fact, if you look at some of the literature there early on, like when you look at the list, and the alcohol is only mentioned once in the entire list. I don't know if you noticed that in the 12 steps. So the word alcohol.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
So I guess the point is, abstinence is the first step. Like, it's the key. It's like I can't. It gets in the way, and I have to clear my head, or else I'm not able to work any kind of program, of any kind. Because it's New Year's Eve, and there's going to be a lot of hungover people tomorrow, man. There's going to be a lot of. There's all kinds of stuff that alcohol is getting in the way of. I mean, I'm hoping that all the checkpoints work the way they're supposed to, and they're all in the right places, and everybody gets home safe and sound. And all that stuff. But for me, I couldn't imagine taking another drink, which is not to say that I'm saying that I'm never, but I'm certainly not going to tonight.
Yeah, it's out of the scope of possibilities for tonight.
Yes, it is. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's for tonight. I mean, it is kind of in the scope, but it's out of the scope. It's not kind of in the scope. I mean, physically, you could, you know the path I'm going down. Physically, you could go to Safeway and get yourself some $2 chuck and, you know, see what happens from there. But, you know, if I wish there was a visual along with this podcast. There's a face I just made was like, fucking effort in that.
The effort in going to the grocery store?
No, just the effort in maintaining. Here's the thing with me and abstinence, right? Is maintaining moderation is not an option for me. Like, and the fact that I had to consider moderation really opened my eyes for me a lot as far as like the way I drank. Because if I were a typical person, I don't want to use the word normal, but just typical, like I wouldn't be thinking, okay, I'm only allowed to drink 3 tonight. That's all I'm allowed. Because a typical person who doesn't have, who isn't an alcoholic will be like, okay, that's good. Like I have a nice buzz. I feel a little warm in the face. I'm done. They don't think there's no cutoff. There's no moderation cutoff line in their brain. You know, it's just warm and done. Warm and sleepy. I'm sleepy now. You know, and then every once in a while they'll cut a little loose and they'll be like, I'll never drink tequila again, man. Last time I drank tequila, you know. And for me, I'm just like, I hear those never drink tequila again stories and I'm like, but that's fucking Wednesday. Yeah. Like that shit was just, that was just middle of the week. Like, oh, you woke up outside with no pants on covered in ants? Like that was my jam, dude. Like I invented that shit. Yeah, because that literally has happened to me. But, you know, that's when I think of abstinence. It's the opposite of moderation to me, yeah, because moderation is just not an option. It never has been. No. And then that figures in, of course, to working a program just to improve my life. Because yeah, if I'm all fucked up, then that really defeats the purpose of even trying to work the program in the first place. For me personally, you know, I've heard stories of other people in the program who were attending meetings and they were still drinking and going to meetings and stuff, and I was like, wow, you're getting all this vital information, but you're not retaining any of it. You're not applying any of it. You know, it must be really hard. It must suck, you know.
I can't imagine it either. I again, I agree with you 100% that moderation is just not. I tried it so many times. Not just moderation of how many, but well, you know, I think it was the gin the other night, man. I just can't drink gin. What if I just drink white wine, because the red wine just makes me flush and has too many sulfates. I don't know what a sulfate is, to be quite honest, Jerry. I just know, or sulfite.
I don't know. Sulfites, I think it's salt, dirt, I don't know, roast droppings. Who knows?
But whatever it is, I just know, oh man, it must have been the sulfites, or you know,
it must be it.
I think I'm just allergic to the wheat in the beer. You know, I think it's like a gluten thing, so I can't. I can't really drink too much of that IPA because it really. I think it's the hops. It's the hop level.
The hops, yeah, must be. Never drinking tequila again. I quit drinking because my drink of choice was whiskey. Like I would drink anything, pretty much anything you put near me, but I would hate all of it unless it was bourbon. And so I remember there's a point in time where I was like blacking out a lot and acting out and being like fucking pissed about everything and getting real dark and weird. And so I was like, well, I'll try vodka because it must be the wheat in the fucking bourbon. But then like, you know, and then I tried vodka, and then what happened was like within 2 days I was exactly where I was when I quit drinking bourbon. I was like to a fifth a night and still fucking blacking out and wilding out and fucking saying crazy shit to people and thinking crazy shit. And so yeah,
so it wasn't the wheat. You don't black out on French toast.
Apparently it was not the right, like I have some Roman meal bread and then I wake up in a car, you know.
Gotta try those ancient grains, Jerry. Get a nice amaranth or something.
That's what I ate a hollow loaf, dude, and fucking went on walkabout, you know, like.
Yeah, it's just not feasible, and it's not for me I can't imagine moderation now. And when I hear about it, and maybe there's some people who just need a little more structure, right? And so I've heard of, you know, moderation management, and I think one of the other smart recovery, I'm not sure what it stands for, but they're all about like moderating, and maybe that works
Right.
for some people, and you're fine with
I
that.
imagine it does. It's just not my reality.
No.
I imagine that's not your reality because
No.
we'd be doing the moderation podcast and probably fucking drunk by the end of it. So
Right.
but maybe I don't know. I don't want to discredit anybody else's program or the way they do the things they do. I'm just fucking around, but
No, I get it.
yeah, I don't want anybody out there who's like making dinner and they're in the smart recovery and they're like that. What an asshole! 1-star review.
Once.
Guy in his stupid ponytail.
So it's entirely up to the individual, I guess, is what
Absolutely.
we're saying. And I don't I don't think that either of us discredit anyone who is making strides to try better, try harder, or try different.
Right. We're at the end of the day, we're all alcoholics, and we all can relate to each other's struggle fundamentally in that way. So the ways we approach it, if it's successful, then it's successful. So for you and I, we tend to like to work within that 12-step program, and other people tend to work with moderation management or smart recovery or what's that one, Life Ring. I know we always throw out those because I'm not familiar with them. I've never been to any of their meetings or any of that. But if that's what's working for you, like, fuck yeah, keep doing it, because you're probably reaping benefits in your life. It's probably doing a good positive thing for you. So just John and I, we tend to like to sit in church basements, like I said, and shirk our duties of service.
Right. Yes. I can't even imagine. There's no part of me, because I used to joke. One of my jokes when I was drinking was, yeah, I like moderation. Lots and lots of moderation.
Right. Right.
A terrible joke. It wasn't even that funny, but to me it was just like, I like to moderate. And so I was always using the language of, recovery as a kind of a joke. They're like,
satire.
I'm a drunk. I'm not an alcoholic. Alcoholics go to meetings.
Yep. Nobody likes a quitter. Yeah, that kind of shit. Yeah, but then when it all comes out, you also end up sounding like Orson Welles in that fucking champagne commercial. I just watched that tonight. Have you seen it?
Man, I have.
He's
I
like,
have.
The French. And far be it for me to laugh at a poor guy who's fucking in hardcore alcoholism, but the French is still fucking funny.
So it's.
But anyway, that's how we would be sounding.
Absolutely.
Only quitters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, abstinence is it's key. So I wake up, and how do I stay? I mean, how do you stay abstinent? How do you? What steps do you take? Somebody said.
I got to be honest with you. I just don't drink.
That's a good one.
But if we want to get down into the spiritual or the mental aspect of it,
I mean, a little bit.
I need to identify the triggers that cause me to have that type of thinking. Because for me, I feel like it's not so urgent. It's still there. It's still there, but it's not an urgency. So I really need to sit down and cope with the triggers or cope with the ways that make me think that way, So there are certain things I do. I mean, we always praise meditation or some type of prayer or some type of mindfulness is always super helpful, stepping away from things that are overwhelming, because I find a lot that, like I've said it in previous podcasts, my first instinct is to run away from shit that's hard, or just not do things that are hard, or just get really overwhelmed and blow up on everybody around me. So it's always best for me to tell the people around me or closest to me, like, yo, I'm having a moment. I need to fucking leave the room for a few minutes and kind of really go over what's going on with me, because I don't want to yell at everybody or just be an asshole. So I think it's a lot of mindfulness, a lot of some meditation, some meditation, those kinds of things are always super helpful for me in abstinence. And honestly, my big thing is I just don't do that anymore. I've said that previously too. It's just a thing that just I don't do. So yeah, abstinence is a funny word, dude, because I was telling my wife, well, we're doing a podcast on abstinence, and she just started chuckling like, yeah, you don't get laid, man. And I was like, yeah, I do. You don't know, but she does know, because we're married.
So yeah, there's lots of things, and I think too, in early recovery, like a month in, there's all kinds of anxiety and worry and frets.
Yes.
And I think it's important. I know for me, I kind of had to remove myself from those, like you said, those triggers, both physical and mental ones. So even, I think maybe you talked about some glassware in your kitchen or something like that, or you were like, yeah, there's just these glasses and I don't use them anymore. I used to use them.
They're still fucking there, but we're having a rummage sale at my kid's school, and I think I'm gonna just roll in with a bunch of crystal booze decanters and fucking old wine glasses and shit. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
But things like, if you need to remove things, obviously the bottles of booze from your house is probably a good place to start.
That's key. Yeah, that's probably a good starting point. Yeah.
But all those things, and also the people that you hang out with. And I don't necessarily think that you have to say, I'm not going to see any of my friends. But if your friends are trying to encourage you, to do something that you don't want, if they're not interested in what in your best interest, and I didn't.
People have that thing with the friends who tell you, what do you do this for? You're not really an alcoholic. Like, I personally know people who have died on that hill. Like, have literally died because they've been told, oh, well, they've been given the green flag, the checkered, or the green flag to go back out, because they're like, what are you telling me? You're not really an alcoholic. When they don't know your struggle, they don't know what you go through. They don't know you when you're alone in your room with the empty bottles under the bed or whatever you're doing. They don't know that part of you. So of course their perception of what you're going through is going to be through a
lighter
lens, lighter, or through just a completely rose-colored lens. They may be in denial of their own problem themselves. They may not. They just want to keep the good times rolling. Who knows? But I do know that. Yeah, sometimes the people you hang out with, I don't know. You know what? Don't have friends. Just get video games. You'll be fine. Just dump all your friends. Get Red Dead Redemption 2.
How's
get
that
Last
new
of
VR?
Us.
Do they have Red Dead VR yet? Is that
No, not yet.
Not
but
yet.
you guaranteed I'll be on a horse getting motion sickness.
I was gonna say, can they have like those little springy horses outside of the like in the playground? They can get you one of those.
I can get one, wire one, bolt one in the room. But no, most definitely who you associate with.
And I think
it's hard. It's a hard fucking thing because they'll start dropping off anyway.
They will.
They will, because you're no fun. You remind them of all that bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that was the case for me. That I was less and less invited to things.
Oh yeah.
I was less and less the phone calls that I used to get late at night. They eventually went away.
Yeah.
But they still showed up at first. But people realized that, oh, John's not drinking. Maybe I shouldn't call him at 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning.
A three-way call with another drunk person.
Exactly.
Hey, let's all hash it out. And you're like, man, I'm making memes right now, dude. I'm in dreamland.
Yeah, I want to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, friends, and I still have friends that drink, and I still spend time with them. I just do it differently. We don't meet at bars. There's only been a couple of times where I can think where somebody was out and I wanted to go see. It's usually there's another purpose. It's not just we're going to go to a bar. I think either there was some music going on or something like that. And so, making those different arrangements with people, and like you said, people are going to drop off as is. But if somebody were going to be detrimental to my sobriety and it was something that was really important to me, I would just have to say no and be comfortable saying no and not feel guilty, because they're not going to be there when I'm, laying in bed hungover, or getting into a drunken fight with my girlfriend or my boss or the police. They're not going to be there.
Nope.
I'm going to be there.
No.
So, taking away those triggers, things, whether, like I said, whether it's glassware or friends or, finding other activities, stuff that you like to do, whether it's baking or puzzles or painting. Sudoku.
Do you know how to do that? I don't know how to do
I
that.
don't.
Me neither. But if you know how to do it out there, listener, fuck yeah, that's genius.
I like crosswords every once in a while.
Do you? Yeah.
I like the jumble, the little junior jumble, the little scramlet.
Yeah, the scramlet.
There's
I remember
another
you
one
doing while you were drinking. You were doing Words with Friends a lot, and you would just like wild out on people, write them, "Hey, what's up? What's up, boss?" And they're like, "I just figured out the fucking Words with Friends." You're just private messaging them like, "Yeah, you want to say that to me outside? What are you wearing, huh, boss? Huh, chief? What you got on, buddy?"
But just whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, those, no, seriously, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want. I don't remember wiling out on people on Words with Friends, but.
You would tell me stories,
Oh.
but you were drinking, though, when you would tell me the story. Anyway.
Oh, you know.
Well, not
anyhow.
anyway, but yeah.
But yeah. But so find something other than drinking. Find something that you used to do or find something new. There's the cravings. Cravings are really bad. And cravings, you just have to ride the wave because it'll pass. And I don't know.
It will pass.
I wouldn't really call it a craving anymore. Sometimes I guess I get a little twinge of nostalgia for a second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
the
not
glitter.
a craving, but it's
You
like,
get the glitter, dude.
oh man, you know what would be really nice? Sitting out on the deck, out by the river,
Yeah.
cooler full of
Fucking
club
whatever.
cocktails or
shandies, club cocktails. Oh
in
my
the little
God,
cans.
dude.
I don't know.
Yeah. My parents used to drink
My
those,
parents
dude.
too.
My mom did, yeah. Yeah. A couple of grapefruit shandies and a nice charcuterie plate that I'm gonna end up throwing into the river at some point.
But get yourself a 6-pack of La Croix or an 8-pack or 12-pack and
Put a little stevia in it. Homemade soda, no calories. Bam, one and done. You're out. You're ready, son. The world is your oyster. The world is your toy store, as John says. But there are definite other things. You know, even if it's just reading. You know, reading literature on sobriety or recovery, listening to podcasts on sobriety or recovery has been super helpful for me.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe listening to this one here.
Yes.
Becoming a Patreon subscriber.
Yes. What would you say to somebody who wanted to quit drinking but also smoked weed and was kind of doing some marijuana maintenance?
I've dealt with that in the past with people
That's
doing
why I'm
that.
asking, but
I mean, I've dealt with that personally in my own life in the beginning of my recovery. Like, I smoked weed for probably the first 2, maybe 3 months to sleep. Well, that's my excuse, right? There's my denial, to sleep. But I don't know, man. It's hard for me to make a call on that. All I know is what works for me. If I'm like, well, dude, or dudette, whatever, person, if it works for you, I guess it's working for you. I wouldn't suggest it just because, you know, it's.
So what?
I don't know though.
Well,
right?
What happened to you 3 months down the road that you were like, this marijuana maintenance program is not doing it for me. It's not enough.
I had the fucking massive panic attack and started questioning who I was and what I was doing and why I was doing this. And it was just uncomfortable. And I really had this revelation during that panic attack where I was like, why am I here? I don't want to feel this way. Why am I feeling this way? I just want to not feel this way. And I think the best way to not feel this way is to not smoke pot anymore. So then I stopped smoking pot. And I wasn't smoking a lot of pot. Like, it was literally, it wasn't like all day long. It would be like 2 puffs off a joint or something. But then once I stopped, I just liked being sober so much, like without that feeling of being high, that I just kind of rolled with it. I never really liked weed anyway, though.
Yeah.
It literally was to help me sleep at first, and then from there I was like, well, this makes me feel a little different. So I guess I'd tell someone who's on the marijuana maintenance thing, like, it's a slippery slope. How about that? Good luck. You know, like it feels like you're adding another impediment to something.
Yeah.
Like, you're already on like log rolling. You know what? You gotta kick a shoe off while you're doing it. So now what? You're just doing 1 foot, because that's what it feels like.
Early
to me,
recovery is
like,
already an episode of MXC.
exactly. Or oh yeah, yes, exactly, dude. With Guy Ledouche.
For
You know,
those
like
of you
you're
who don't know what MXC is, please go
Get
to
it.
YouTube and you can
And
watch
watch
them
it.
all.
I think after we do this podcast, it's our New Year's Eve. I'm gonna be like, Megan, get off the fucking VR. We're gonna do some MXC right now. I've got them on DVD, man. Anyway, it's already a struggle.
Yes.
You're already performing a feat of strength. So like, why have the impediment there? You know.
Yeah.
But far be it from me, I can't tell you what to do with what you're doing. That's all up to you. You ask my opinion, I say don't do it. But
I did ask
you're
your
not
opinion.
asking my. No, I'm saying in the
Okay.
hypothetical, though.
Yes.
You did ask my opinion. My opinion would be like, don't do it, but I'm a hypocrite because I did it. Do you know what I mean? But then there's the nature of of humanity, right? We're all kind of hypocritical in one way or another. So I guess I learned from it. I learned that I was like, this is much harder while I'm doing this, and I'm freaking the fuck out. You know, I mean, I quit smoking too, and I smoked I loved smoking. The only thing I haven't quit yet is, well, I still vape, but I haven't quit caffeine, man. I still love caffeine.
Me too.
Can't take that shit away from me. We had a whole conversation, you and I, about caffeine. I don't know if we did it on the podcast, but your doctor said to stop drinking coffee, and you were like shook. You were like, fuck,
That's
what do
all
I do?
got.
What the
That's
fuck, doc?
That's my crutch in the corner
I
right
could
now.
just see you sitting in the car having like a moment from like the movie Magnolia, just crying and punching the fucking steering wheel, being like,
Yeah.
just even looking at that, what the fuck do I do now, doc? What do I got now, huh? Take that from me.
I think, you know, and it's funny you say that because today I made a full pot of coffee and I still had like 3 cups, but that was only like maybe half of the pot. And, you know, and I was like, man, why do I keep brewing a whole pot? I'm not drinking it anymore.
Habit. It's a habit.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking maybe I
ritual.
could brew a half a pot and that would probably be fine because I'm also thinking, well, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. If I'm going to have one more cup, this is it, man. 4:00's got to be that cutoff or else you're not going to be able to sleep. So
I'm on a Diet Coke thing, so I get it. I'm trying to cut back. I should just be absent from Diet Cokes because I've had like maybe 3 today already. Because I love Diet Cokes, man, and I'm like, fuck, Jerry. Like, it's all the caffeine in it, though.
Caffeine,
that's my
little
confession.
sweetness.
Little sweetness, the little whatever, that fake sugar that's probably gonna make me grow a wing or something. Like,
Just
know,
one.
like, but just one. That's all I get too. But I get it. I get it as far as marijuana maintenance goes. I understand it, but you know, slippery.
Yeah.
It's very slippery, dog. Yeah.
I think another thing that's really good is in early sobriety, and actually even right now, and for basically my entire life, I've always had voices in my head. You know, whether it's the voice, you know, and I'm not saying that, but like the voice that says, "Hey, it's okay, have a drink, man. No, it's fine."
Oh, you mean
earned
like
it."
an internal monologue?
Yeah,
You don't
internal
mean like
monologue.
someone
No.
telling you to set the president on fire? Or
No, none of that.
I furrowed my brow like,
Yeah, I know, you
this
gave
is
me
a
that-
new thing.
You gave me that look.
Well,
No,
let's
I don't
address
mean
this on
like-
the podcast.
like some M. Night Shyamalan movie or something like
Right.
that.
You mean your inner monologue? I have an inner monologue. He's a
So-
motherfucker, dude.
So I think the one thing that you can do is talk back, and it's one thing that I've learned is to say like, "Oh yeah, it'll be fine, man," or "You don't really need to do that." And I'm like, I don't need to listen to you.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that can be a helpful thing too, to remember that that internal monologue is not something that you have to follow. It's not something that you have to listen to. I mean,
Right.
'Cause-
They're self-fulfilling prophecies is what they are. The monologue is telling you what's going to go wrong and you fulfill it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Another thing that I am guilty of, and I don't always succeed, is I think we've called it before, the shit fuck stacking. Have I used this term with you before?
I know this. It took me a minute. I know the song with the guy with the hair that everybody likes.
Yes.
But I don't.
Reggie Watts, who was
that's his name.
He was in this cool band in Seattle back in the day called Maktub, and then he started doing comedy, and he got
was in Maktub.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then he got super crazy weird, and he was on Conan for a while, and he had his own show, but he did this song called the Shit Fuck Stack, and you stack the shit and the fuck, and anyhow, it's this weird goofy song, but it's this idea of and I just use that one, but it's this idea of catastrophizing things, or just making it, oh my god, well, this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna happen, and I woke up and I already feel like shit, so I'm gonna have a terrible day, so I might as well not, you know, I don't need this, and why am I drinking all this coffee anyway, and fucking I'm not even gonna get out of bed, and then you know, and then it just compounds. So being, I think, a little more forgiving to yourself. I know that I have to do that because that's what gets me out of bed, or gets me to the gym, or gets me to, you know, polish up my resume, or gets me to whatever the thing that is I'm struggling with at the moment. I don't need to tack it on. I don't need to pile it on to a whole nother case of things. So, and what else what are the other, there's also, I mean, seeking
The
help.
fuck shit stack.
The fuck shit stack. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you You do
Man,
that.
I don't really like Reggie Watts, dude. I don't really. I'm not feeling him. He's talented. I just. Not to disregard what you said. It makes total sense. I'm like pointing at the whole time you're saying. I was like, "That's it. That's my whole fucking life." You know, that's my that's my cycle of even insomnia. Like that's the best way I can think of is during my insomnia, it feeds itself. It's like the Ouroboros. It's like a snake eating its own tail. It's always because it's like, fuck, you can't sleep. Oh, fuck, you're fucked. You can't get up and help with the kid in the morning. Oh, fuck, you know. And then I start going through the cycle of how I'm just ruining my fucking life, which is just keeping me awake. You know, it's just like going throughout your day with, that inner monologue. I gave mine a voice and everything, man. Maybe I'll name him Shit Fuck Stack.
He's always a good name.
Like, they're gonna laugh at you, Jerry. Yeah, that's what he sounds like. Hey, you're gonna shit your pants in front of everybody and fall down the stairs. You know. Good morning, Jay.
Like,
you know.
Not yet.
No, dude, not anymore.
Not anymore. So
I've got all that handled mostly.
Yeah. So just it's okay to talk back and say no. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to you right now, and I'm not. Listening
I do it a lot in the car. Yeah, and the shit fuck stacking is a great way to put it. And my mom calls that projecting. You're just projecting. And I've heard projecting being used so many different ways. Like you're projecting your emotions onto me, right? But the way my mom is like, you're making a prophecy for yourself. You're projecting the negative part of your future. It's almost like magical thinking. You know what I mean? Like if you will it hard enough, it becomes true. Like, and that's a motherfucker, dude.
I think also,
yeah.
Well, I was going to say too, is that a lot of this is rooted in the anxiety comes up. And I don't know if I said that earlier, but finding a way to relax.
Touched on anxiety. Yeah.
Whether it be like listening to some of that. Have you heard this like 432 hertz music? It's supposed to be the optimal.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me, man. I've listened to those binary beats to try to sleep, and it's just an idiot. I'm just an idiot on the couch with no shirt on in the dark listening to like wubba, wubba, wubba. It just doesn't work for me, dude. But it does for some people. Some people find it, you know.
I found one in particular that I like, and you know, I mean, there's a bunch of them out there on YouTube, and the one that I like is like music for happiness or something like that. And it's got this big golden face on it, and it seems to put me to sleep.
Does it?
For the most part. Yeah, most of the time it does. Not all the time.
I do like Alan Watts' guided meditation.
So those are cool too.
I listen to a lot of Alan Watts actually because it's a lot of perspective there. There's a lot of calming perspective there with the anxiety. Yeah.
So finding a way to relax, hot baths and yoga.
Yeah. Dude, a little Ed Sheeran and a hot bath, man, woo, and some Epsom salts of lavender. I don't, you know.
Is that what's going on tonight?
That's what my kid does, dude. That's what my daughter does. My little 8-year-old daughter takes hot baths, and she's like, "Dad, will you put on relaxing music and put some bath salts in here?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and I'll put on Ed Sheeran because I don't know what the fuck, because I don't really listen to relaxing music myself. So I'm like, what would an 8-year-old think is relaxing? Yeah,
you gotta get her into those 432 hertz.
Yeah, hey, yo, you want to check out some binaural beats? Don't be a pussy. Check out these binaural beats, dog. Get on it.
Get on it. So
Get on it,
something
kid.
to help you relax. You know, and one last thing, which I have not really sought out, but probably will have to at some point in my life, is real and professional help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
You know, not everybody has the opportunity or the means to get into, you know, rehabs if they need it, or any kind of outpatient programs or any of those things. But I know that, you know, even a little bit can help. And there's lots of, I feel like there's
absolutely, dude,
there's all kinds of resources out there in 2018. I think there's even like self-help apps and different, I don't know the names of any of them, you know, therapist apps and things like that. But seeking that out, I think, because the one thing that I found is that alcohol wasn't my main problem. I mean, there were other problems. There were deep-rooted, you know, psychological issues that needed to be mended.
A little bit, yeah.
So I think that's a really good one too, is
professional help is great. If you have the means to, absolutely. Even if you have the means to find recovery counselors. Hell, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of rehabs, but if you can find a good one, like, and you're going through early recovery, man, that is definitely a good option for you. It'll put you in a good mindset and get you around other people who are dealing with what you're dealing with, which is absolutely necessary, to be around other people who are going through what you're going through. It'll be super helpful.
And to be around people who are committed to being helpful, counselors.
And when I say I'm not a
fan,
fan of rehabs, I mean like the $10,000 buffet rehab that they just let you out they get you sober for 28 days and put you out in the street. Like, good luck now, like that's it.
We got
no
your 10
follow
grand.
up. I just mean, rehab in general. If it's helpful, do it.
Yeah.
I have to be careful of this language sometimes.
Well, I mean, yes, there can be
I don't want them to think
some greed and corruption and all,
It's in everything, though. It's in all of it. Like everything in the world. You just use your brain. If it looks shady,
don't do it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't feel good, don't do it.
Yeah.
But I think that abstinence can feel good. Sobriety can feel good.
Boom. Good turnaround, Allison.
Being, and we talk a lot about language. You talked a lot about it with your dad, about not saying I'm an alcoholic, I'm in long-term recovery. I've heard things like, don't tell people you're clean because that implies that you were dirty. And, I don't know how language is going to shift in the future, and I'm still fine to say I'm clean and sober, and fine to say I'm an alcoholic. And like I said, it's in the title of this program. And thank God.
That's I've got to change the name of the program.
But just there's some tips and some tricks, and it's hard sometimes. It's really, really hard sometimes.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Every single morning, it's worth it. Regardless of whatever minor struggle I might be having, I'm really grateful to not wake up hungover. And you guys will all be listening to this on the 5th or the 6th of January, and New Year's Eve will be long gone. But I wanted to ask you, and dry January is coming up, Jerry.
Yeah, you want to do it?
Well, I do.
Let's do it.
But just real quick, because I know that you've taken umbrage with these, month-long pledges to get sober or to be sober, not even to be sober, but just to quit drinking,
Right.
And like people, they go, I'm going to be dry for January, and then I wake up and I feel great and I'm doing good and I'm exercising, and halfway through the month, you're like, God, I can't wait till I get a drink, and when are we going to drink, and what are we going to drink, and where are we going to drink, and how are we going to drink?
February comes around, and it's right back on the shit horse, like, let's fucking tear this place down. And then the same problems you had in December are back again. Mm-hmm. But anyway, what were you?
I think that's it. I think you summed it up pretty just.
Yeah, that's the thing. You take a month off, you're like, feel great for the first couple weeks, then you feel lousy because you want the month to end, and then it's just right back to the mindset that made you want to take that month off in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And
but if that month off turns into something nice,
that's the thing. And
do the next month off, dude. I mean, not even do the next day off. Do 32 days.
And you said something really. We talked about this prior to the podcast about taking these months off, whether it's sober October or dry January or mustache November or whatever.
Right,
that's
like
not the
alcohol-free February, like, yeah.
But you said it should be a liberation and not a prison. It shouldn't be something that you're locked into and you can't wait to get set free of. And I think a lot of that has to do with how your outlook on it and what kind of program that you're running in your own life. What kind of program?
Well, yeah. And it's funny because now looking back, I feel like I'm free now. Like, I felt like I was locked in the prison when I was drinking. Like, I was in this little, 6x8 cell just pacing, waiting for the next time the guard came around to throw a bottle through the bars, And now I'm out here shirtless in the yard, like, free, man.
Feeling good.
Sober during the middle of the day, not shirtless in the yard crying. You know what I mean? Like, after a giant row with, whoever wanted to fight with me. Now I feel so much more free now.
So I think if you're in the midst of a dry January, keep it up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Really, I know that for me with sobriety and with abstinence, it's all about why I'm doing it and having a meaning behind it that makes it meaningful. So I think that it's important to find the meaning in your sobriety, and that's going to help with its longevity.
Yeah.
You dig?
Word. I dig, dude. I dig it.
And we're glad to be back for a second season.
Yeah, it was a long break.
We thought about taking a break and like, well.
You're like, it's only a half-hour podcast, Jerry. Jesus, what do you need?
You need 3 weeks off there?
Yeah, I do. But no, I don't. I really don't. I just was like, what do you think about taking a little break? And you're like, have 30 minutes, Jerry. It's 30 minutes out of your Monday.
So yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you're right. Let's do it. Let's switch it. Yeah. So this will be fun. I think the second season, we've already got one season under our belt. So hopefully the second one will be, we'll have it figured out a little better.
And if there's anything you guys are interested in us talking about, I've already gotten a few thoughts.
I love
people.
subjects.
So,
subjects interest me. Yeah, I mean, we can always
inside or outside of the alphabet. We'll find a way to work it in.
We can definitely figure out a way to squeeze it into the format. Like even if it doesn't start with the letter, we'll figure it out. We'll just jam it right in there, dude.
Hey,
we don't care.
We don't care.
We're not gentlemen.
All right, stay sober, everybody. And what you said that our tagline,
catchphrase? I forgot it. What was it?
You're just gonna have to get used to leaving early.
Yeah, you're just gonna. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, you're just gonna have to get used to leaving early.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.